Welcome back to the Crochet Cradle. So it's my friends over at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today is the Hissy Stitch baby blanket, and during the making of this and converting this into that, I had the yarn all laid out and all the strands are running perfectly, and the dog walked through all the strands. Don't mess with the crocheter and their yarn. I literally flipped out, had a cow, possibly a few kittens, and I totally had a Hissy Stitch for sure. So I playfully calling this the Hissy Stitch, and in fact the stitch counts are almost identical to this, but this here is 14" more narrow, and I think it's because I had a Hissy Stitch. So just in case you're wanting to do this, you may need more yarn that's required because I was mad stitching. So without further ado, let's learn how this came to be, because actually in fact it was you the viewers that had me convert this into that. So the original right here is called the Lush Life. If you follow the link in the more information of this video, you can actually get this pattern too. And people thought, because of the way that it's staging here, that this thing is actually a checkerboard. And so people were kept messaging me and emailing and the whole 9 yards. I don't understand why it's not checkering up. And this in fact is actually a stripe. So we have 8 rows of one stripe, 8 rows of another, and that's how it worked through. So instead of actually just kind of going against the grain, I thought, you know what, if people really want the checker, ta-da, let's do it. So this is how this has come to be. So this is an adaptation of this design here by Yarnspirations. So let's talk a little bit about this and how we're going to execute this today. As I mentioned, this was done in a Graphghan format. So what you're seeing here is 1 ball, 1 ball, 1 ball, 1 ball, 1 ball, 5 balls. So the next color you see that there's 5 balls as well. The difference is that in this row we have 1 ball, 1 and 1. So there's 3 balls of blue and only 2 of white. But in this one here there's 3 balls of white and 2 of blue. So I actually had 6 balls of yarn going at the same time, but only 5 being used in each strip. And the reason why I did that is that I was too lazy to actually make little balls. So I just grabbed like 6 balls and I decided this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna pound through. So even though I used 6 balls of yarn, technically for this I could have only used 2 balls of each color, but I was too lazy to split it up. So if this is something that you have to keep in mind for yourself. Also, you don't have to do it in blanket yarn today. I'm going to give you some options. I don't know how much yarn you will need by changing out the yarn, but I've designed this in a way that you can substitute that information as well. So I'd highly recommend to you is that you have a separate ball for each section. So in this case there's 5 balls running here, there's 5 here. The difference is of the color. You can use more than just the 2 colors. You can go as wild as you want to, or keep it as safe as you want to. And if you want solid color, you can also do the solid color in itself, or you can just do the stripes just like there. So hopefully that's got you covered today. Let's talk about what we're looking on square size, and there is one complication in my pattern. So here's my laundry basket. So I put all my yarn in a laundry basket so that I could keep it away from the dog, but also it could be transported. So when I moved from one room to another, I just had it all there so I didn't have to get all squirrely on me. So I didn't have to have more than 2 Hissy fits in this project. So each square here in my design is measuring 7 inches wide by 7 inches tall. And so that's the visual here. And they're each made up of 13 stitches across. So each one of the 7 by 7 is 13 stitches across by 10 rows high. But there is an exception to this, and that's on the first set of squares that is right here. And I'm gonna pull the sample just to show you why that is. And so if you would like to change the size of this or change out the yarn, the multiples are 26 plus 14. So the 26, do you see the blue and then the white? In order to have this being finished right, you gotta have this color over here, I feel, so that it stays balanced. So there's this 26 plus then 14 will give you this look. So every time you want to change out the next multiple, then would be this 5, and then the next multiple then would be 7. So it'll always end up with an odd number of boxes across in this format. Because I like to overcomplicate the system and really kind of blow your mind, I wanted to show you that each one of these I consider them as being strips. So every time you finish off something like this, so you have your boxes done, you will fasten off all your yarn and then restart with the color being shifted over and then the new color being brought in, and etc. So every time we get one of these strips done, you basically are just fastening off. It gives you an opportunity to untangle your yarn just in case it is tangled detangling, and it gives a nice fresh restart when you're going to do that. But the complication is actually in the first box here, because in order to get this stitch we have to do a setup, and that setup makes the box look taller, but the box is the same size as the rest of them. But the problem is that the alpine stitch here, you have to have more of them in order to keep it in line with this one here. So the first box, or the first strip here, is a different set of instructions versus all the rest of them going right into the end of the project. So it's going to be done in a Graphghan format. So let me show you the sample and tell you why that is. So here's the sample here. Now we have the setup rows that we have in the instructions, and you will notice that this row here is just a double crochet row. We need that there in order to be placed to keep in the stitch count. But because it's a double crochet row, it makes the box look taller than actually using all these alpine stitches. So the alpine is a front post treble that comes down. So you are going to do a front post treble and then a double crochet next to each other, and then next time then the front post double trebles go around the double. We'll explain that as we go. So because this double crochet is down here, it gives the illusion that this is taller even though there's less alpine stitches. So in the future you will notice that once you get beyond the first strip here, that you will be able to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alpine stitches, and then you're gonna finish off with a single crochet. So this is why number 2 all the way to the end will always have these 5. But there's one more complication in this thing, is that the repeat rows are actually a set of 4. Let's talk about that. Now the original Lush Life has everything in sets of 4s, and basically 2 repeats of 4 rows gives you 8 rows tall. But the problem with this particular one is that if I did the 8 rows, it would be squatted down and not actually being a square. So each one of these sections that you will see are made up of 10 rows. The problem is that if the repeat is in sets of 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, when I go to do the final 9 and 10th, it will be between a repeat. So it'll only be 1, 2. So just think about when you finish this square, think about where you are, and when you start the next section with the new colors, you're just going to pick up the pattern where you left off in that sense. So each one of these strips is not the same repeat or the same instruction, because it's keeping in a sequence of doing 10 rows. So once you get 10 rows, fasten off and just start the next section here and just carry on with the sequence that we're going to do, and I'll explain that as we're crocheting today. So I think there's enough jibber jabber. Let's get at her. There is a side border that we're going to be applying today. I want you to watch the right side and the wrong side, and I kept the border nice and simple, and I actually crocheted this in about 8 hours, so it's actually a really quick project, and I think I actually really loved it after I got over my mood swing. So let's get on with it today, and let's start our lesson. Let's grab your crochet hook, and this was using a 10mm size N crochet hook as in Nancy, and I'm going to be using Red Heart Heat Wave with a 5.5mm size I crochet hook as a demonstration. I'm going to use one of the boxes as a variegated yarn just to see what it will look like too. So let's try it. So let's begin. You can either chain 66 and have exactly what you see with using Bernat Blanket with an N hook, a 10mm, or if you want to change the size of it, you can do the multiples, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a small swatch with you today. So I'm going to do a small swatch, so if you want to change the size, then it is in multiples of 26, then plus 14, and that will keep you in sync. So whatever you want to do, so chain 66 or chain in multiples of 26 plus 14, and you will have the size that you would like to do. So do the starting chain now and just use the main color that you would like to start with. So whatever you decided to do with your chain, then just on row number 1, this is setup row number 1, you are going to then just go second chain from the hook, stay on the back hump of the stitch, and you are going to single crochet yourself all the way across your chain. So this is row number 1. So I decided not to start those breaking up of the colors immediately, and to give yourself something to hang on to first. So let's do row number 1 like this, and I'll meet you at the end of this row and turn and do row number 2. When you get to the end of your chain, you're just single crochet across. We're going to turn and do row number 2. Row number 2, just same thing, just chain up 1, actually not the same thing, but chain up 1 and just do 1 single crochet in each stitch going all the way across. When we get to the end of this row, we are going to fasten off, and we're going to introduce the second color first, and then we're going to start working out through those box colors. So let's do this single crochet to the end of this row. When you get to the end of the row, this is the end of the line. I'm not gonna have you change out your yarn yet. I want you to fasten off, and I am going to show you how to do that. So just trim your yarn. I'd probably recommend to you, I did all my tails at the very end of the project, but if you want to be more organized than I was, then what you can just do is just throw it through a tapestry needle in real time, and it will deal with it immediately. So just turn it to the other side and just put it through the inside of the stitch work. So just put it through once. And with Bernat Blanket you'll want to do this for sure because it's a lot thicker yarn. Okay, so back and forth 3 times is a charm, and I've done that on my whole blanket that you saw in the sample as well, because it'll eventually be donated. So once you get that done, you may want to just deal with that beginning one as well, and then we're gonna move on in today's project. So let's get ourselves set up for strip number 1. We're still in the setup phase as we're doing it. So this is where I finished. So I'm gonna turn it over and just lay it flat. So we have to think about how many boxes that we're going to do. If you're doing the exact sample, there is a total of 5 boxes across. So you need the amount of yarn balls or mini yarn balls that equal that amount. So in that case you'll need 5 different balls in order to do it. And so in my case I'm only just doing 3 boxes, so I only just need 3 balls of yarn. So I'm going to grab 2 colors that are the same with the red heart heat wave, the variegated. That'll be my start. So I have 2 of those, and then I'm going to then keep the pink then for the middle box in order to keep the balance. So let's do this and let's get ready and set up. To get started, create a slip knot, and you want to deal with the tail later, and just throw it through the hook and go into the first stitch. Everything is in sets of 13. Don't forget that. So just attach it and then chain 3. So this is setup row number 3. So 1, let's try it again, 2 and 3, and that's considered 1 of 13. So you have to do 12 more. So when we go to change the 12th one, well, let's just do it and let's figure it out. So let's count to 12. So we have 1, and I'm going right over top of the straggler to hide it better. This is 2, 3 and 12. So with the chain 3 and these 12, that should give you the number 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. But before we continue, we have to pull 1 out. So that last one, when you go to change over colors, you have to get the next color ready. So this is the 13th one, so just going in, pulling through, and the 13th, that includes that chain 3. Pull through 2 and hold it. And now we're going to introduce another color in. So we're now going to bring back this pink. It can be any color, it's up to you. And I'm going to create a slip knot, and I'm going to throw that through, and this will be the new color for the next 13 stitches. So when you go look at it from this point, this is the top of the next stitch. That's why you're finishing that stitch with this color. Leave the other straggler out towards the back. Do not crochet over it, because it'll be not where you want it to be next time. And going into the next stitch using the new color, just wrapping and going up over top of the straggler of that one. And so now you've done 1 of 13. So let's do another we have to do 13. So 1, 2, 12, and this is the 13th one, but we don't want to finish it all the way. We want to bring on another yarn ball. So I'm gonna bring on the next yarn ball, create the slip knot, and finish that stitch, the new yarn, and let that straggler fall to the back, always to the back. Do not leave it in front, because it won't be where you need it to be next time if you leave it in front. And then you're going to crochet the remaining 13 stitches that are left, and you may want to count it just to make sure you have the balance. So 1, 2, 12 and 13. So 13 is what we're going to finish with. So this is the end of the row. So in front of us we should have behind the work, except for the very last one, is the finishing up of these colors. You may want to deal with your yarn tails. If you were crocheting up over top of them, just pull them snug, and you can probably snip those out or use a tapestry needle if you feel more secure doing that. It's up to you. It's your call, to your project. And that's what I need to do so that I can keep myself organized. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna keep those out and we're going to turn our work. So what we need to do is keep an eye on those yarn balls because these can tangle if you keep spinning in the same direction. So when you go to turn around, just look at how they're going to be operating and make sure that they always stay in sequence but not tangling with each other. So as you turn, what you want to do is that you want to make sure that all the yarn strands that you're going to use in this row are sitting in the front. And if they're sitting behind, then you know that you left them in the front last time. So you'll have to go back and fix that in order to carry on. So let's go on to row number 4, which is still the setup. From here on in, every other row is a single crochet row, and all you just need to do is keep the color sequence. So you will note that if you see this color underneath, in this particular case it's all single crochet with this color, and as soon as you're going into the new one you have to change it. So to start row number 4, which is the same as going all the rest of them every other row, you're just chaining up 1 and 1 single crochet across. The only difference is you're maintaining the colors. So I say maintain colors in my written instruction, and that's what that means. So as you're finishing up this color here, in order to jump to the new one, watch the trick. I'm going to let this fall, grab up the new pink and kind of pull on it a little bit and pull through. Here's the thing, see this carry yarn? That will be obvious. So I want you to slip in behind it and kind of push it to the front side of that work so that it gets and appears to be underneath that stitch. See? The carry up yarn is here. If you let it sit, it will sit off to the side here and it'll look really obvious. So now you're going to crochet the next 13, but I'm not worried about counting them at this point because I know I can just look at the colors. So I'm coming up to another color change. So let this fall to the back, grab up the new color, make sure it's on the front coming out, pull through, and again put that hook in front of it so it pushes it forward, and then single crochet the remaining all the way to the other side. So you'll do that every time there's a color change, and eventually you'll hit the last box like I am. And so this last color will be the same color going into the next row. The only time that you're ever going to finish is if you're finishing a whole sequence of a whole strip of boxes at the same time and ready to ship those colors over. So just single crochet right to the end. I'll see you back here in a second. So this is the very last one. So turn your work and just take a look at those tangles to make sure, and if it's not, just kind of spin it in the other direction and making sure that the yarn strands are all coming from the front of the work as you begin. So we're now going to officially start row number 5, which is now the sequence of this whole, the remaining of this pattern. So let's do that next. So rows 5, 6, 7 and 8 are the sequence of this whole pattern. So we're going to do that sequence twice. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to shift our boxes over, and then the remaining of those rows then that we will have in the next thing are going to consist of 10 rows, and you're just gonna maintain what you see. So let's do row number 5. You're going to chain 3, which it counts as a double crochet, and in the very next post coming right down over top here, you're going to do this as a front post treble. Wrap that hook twice, coming into the side and pull through, and pull through 2 and 2 and 2 all the way back to the top. So that counts as the stitch that it's sitting in front of. So the next stitch is right here, and you're going to double crochet. This is called an alpine stitch. So you're gonna continue to maintain this. So the next one is coming down in front again. Make sure that you do wrap twice for a treble. And then the next one is a double. So you're going to alternate this all the way across. The only difference that you have is that when you have to do a color change, you have to make sure the top pull throughs of the final stitch are the new color as it jumps over. So I'll see at the first jump. So I'm just ready to about to jump. So the next one has to be, I'm just following the sequence, is a double crochet, but I don't want to finish it completely. I want to finish so the last 2 are on there. Let it fall to the back and then pick this up. And I want to use that. So if that's a double crochet, in order to keep the sequence, then we have to make sure that the next one after it here is a treble. So we're leaving this. So we're going to wrap and just going into the next one here as a treble. Okay, so everything should look in sequence. And then the next one is a double, and then a front post treble is in the next, and you keep doing this until you jump again into another box color. So you're maintaining exactly the pattern but changing the colors when you need to. So this time as you're ready to do the jump, see the one before it is the treble coming down. See how it was different than it was here? Okay, and so that last one we gotta make sure this last treble that went in, we just drop it and then get the new yarn coming up. And the next one is going to be a double crochet, but watch what I'm about to do. There's a technique for that. This will be obvious, so when you go to double crochet the next one, you wanna go in front of it so it captures it underneath and pulls it up so that it's not carrying over but it's hidden. And now you're going to maintain the pattern as you know it. So the next one has to be a treble, and the next one is a double, and etc. And you're gonna do this, and every time you jump you just change over your yarn. So in this case, because there's only 3 boxes, last time I had 5, it does matter on the counts going across, but in this case the last 2 stitches have to be a double crochet because you can't just double crochet and then treble around the final. So you just have to keep an eye on that and just adjust towards that. So on the 5, in actual fact there was a treble just before the edge, but you know what, just flex with it and go with it. So now you're gonna turn your work and go back and go into row number 6, which is just a single crochet row. So chain up 1 and do 1 single crochet in each, and then just jump over the colors that you need to. So change the colors, and I'll show you just one more time and then we'll continue to blast through. So we're ready to jump to the new color. So you don't finish that one, just let it be going behind and grab the new one up. And again, remember what I showed you, just shift that carrying yarn in the front and it will get stuck underneath, and then you do the remaining of this section and then you jump and keep jumping across with just single crochets, and this is row number 6. So at the end of row number 6 you're gonna notice every time it's a single crochet row you're on the back, and then this is the good side. So on the good side you can see all of those trebles that are working for you in the front. So in row number 7 we want to do exactly opposite to what we just did here in row number 5. So we're going to just chain up 3, so 1, 2 and 3. So right here you can see this is a front post treble, so the next one has to be a double. So you're only gonna do a front post treble when there's a double crochet that is available below. So then this one is going to be the front post treble, and so then the next one has to be a double. So you're just maintaining exactly what you see. And this is why the repeating is only consisting of 4 rows, and really 2 of those rows are just single crochet rows that are on the back coming so that you can do this. So you don't hear me counting, I'm just filling in the stitch work. And I keep dropping down if I'm in the same color sequence. So I still have a double crochet there. So at the top of this one I want to change this front post treble over to the other color, which will make the next stitch in a row a double crochet. So when you wrap, go in front of the carrying yarn, keep it in the front. If you leave it in behind you'll regret it later. So double crochet, and then the next one has to be a front post treble, and you'll continue to do this every time you're jumping over the colors. So I will leave the rest of this for you. This is row number 7. So in the end of this row, this is row number 7. You see last time we had 2 double crochets in a row. This time there is a double front post treble going over the double here, and then you're just filling it in. So you're just maintaining exactly what you see in the stitch counts. So you're gonna turn your work and then just single crochet yourself all the way back. This is row number 8, and then just change your colors when you jump over the box colors, and I will see you at the end of this row and we'll talk and we'll continue our journey. So I'm coming up to the end of row number 8. So the entire sequence has now been done. So rows number 5, 6, 7 and 8. So in the strip number 1 I have to do that one more time in order to keep the balance looking the same. So what I want you to do is that you're going to start doing rows number 5, 6, 7 and 8 one more time. I'm gonna do it off camera, but I will get you started here. So just chain up 3 to begin, and then just maintain what you see. So this time it was a double that was first, so it must be a front post treble this time, and then the next one must be a double and etc. So you just gotta maintain how you start in order to keep it going. So what I want you to do is do 5, 6, 7 and 8. Change your colors when you jump over the boxes, and I'll see you back here and I'm going to demonstrate on how to switch the box colors over, and we're going to be fastening off after you get 5, 6, 7 and 8 done one more time. So I just finished a repeat of 5, 6, 7 and 8. I feel like a dance song. So what we have here is that this now here is your square. At this point we want to fasten off. I want to point out to you at this point you see 1 alpine stitch, 2, 3 and 4. Hopefully you can see that on camera. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the only time in the particular project that you will see 4. The rest of them will all have 5, and it's because of this double crochet row down here. It's visually looks better if you can get 5 done in the next one. So what we have to do now is that we have to just trim all of our yarn all the way across, including the ending one here, and we want to fasten it all in. So if you would like to weave it in, if you're going to weave it in quite a distance, almost the whole square. I'm just going back and forth, and that will get stuck into position next time, or use your tapestry needle and just go back and forth 3 times, which is the best option, to be honest with you. So do whatever you feel is right at this moment and fasten off all your yarn, and we're gonna get ready for strip number 2, which will be the same for the remaining of this particular project. Another tip I can leave with you, if you know that this is the last row when you're coming across, if you're using a lot more color strands, it's better to cut these as you're going across. So cut them long enough so that you can weave in, and you will find that it'll get easier and easier to crochet across because the yarn is being cut as you're then doing the final row across, and then you can just weave in all your ends. So you can cut as you go, and it feels like you're getting something more done too. So when if you are doing the weaving in technique, make sure the last strand of the weave is coming to the back side of the project, and just pull up and come in through, and etc. So hopefully these tips help you. I don't really know. So let's continue along. So as we go into strip number 2, the pink is going to move over. And again, you don't have to use 2 colors, you can do more than that. And so I have 2 balls of pink off to the side. I want you just to focus on the stitch work itself. Don't necessarily bog yourself up into the instructions. So when we go to start, we're going to then begin here, and let's get our pink ready to go, and I'll show you a little tip at that point. So as you get ready to go, you're going to start, and you're gonna go to the last stitch that's available to you using a new color to keep the box look different. So it could be any color, and you're going to just join it, and then just chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. So the first is always a chain 3. So look below, you see that this is a double crochet in the next one, so this must be a front post treble. So you see I'm not looking at the instructions, I'm looking at the project to tell me what to do. So the next one here is a front post treble, so it must be a double. So you're just going to continue then the sequence going all the way across, and then when you get to the last part before color change, that's when you're gonna introduce another color in order to play, and I'll be there in just a moment. So I'm about to jump a new color, so I'm getting the last one done here, so it's a double, and I don't want to finish that one, so I want to grab this other color that we had before, and I want to finish it, and again keeping the sequence in place. So if we know that the last one is a double, make sure this stays in behind, and you are going to want to crochet over top of the straggler, the loose end as well. So the next one must be our front post treble coming down, and I highly recommend that this one that you're about leaving behind, you will need to use a tapestry hook in order to, or tapestry needle to secure that. So keeping the color sequence as is, you're going to do this, and then introduce new balls of yarn every time you're jumping over to ship those boxes over. So let's do that, and I'll see you at the end of this row. So please add new colors where you need to. So when you get all the way across, keeping your color sequence, you're just gonna turn your work, and then you're just going to chain up 1 and single crochet all the way back, maintaining the colors as is, and change them over as you're switching over the box colors. So right at the change points, just change them, and then we're gonna do this row, and then we'll talk, and then we'll carry on today's pattern. So I came all the way back, single crocheted. So this is technically 2 rows done of this new color. So this is 1 alpine stitch. So going forward in this strip, you need to see at least 5 of these and then ending with the single crochet before switching the colors back. So what I want you to concentrate on is to make sure that you have 10 rows of each of these colors before switching the color over. So this is 1 and then 2 and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So I'm going to leave this with you because you just have to maintain exactly what you see, and because of the bleed over like this is why it will look square, because it's compensating for the main look of this whole idea. So let's continue along, and please do at least 10 rows of this, and then I'm going to naturally just switch over, and I think it looks balanced when the square Afghan has the same coloring on the actual corners. So you can end anywhere that you wish, but I'm going to then do my 10 rows, which I already have 2 done now, and then I'm gonna switch the colors back. So when you come back, or when I come back, I'm going to have the middle one done, and then I'll have the outside of done, so that we can then move on in today's tutorial. So let's just continue that. So maintain the pattern exactly what you know, maintaining the rows of 10. So I've now just finished a second strip. So now I'm ready to move on, and now this color will then go here and here, and then the pink will go in the middle. So I have a total of 5 alpine stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it finishes with the single crochet, because the next time you're going to do it, see how it's coming down into this one. The next color is going to come down into these double crochets, which will then keep the balance of the look, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm gonna leave that with you. It's just like starting like we did here. It's just a different color scheme. So let's begin to do that, and I'll see you at the end of that section, and then we'll start finishing off this for the edging and also border. So right now we're looking at the back of it. I finished another section. Now if you want to continue along and make more rows, obviously, then you just continue to turn and then add the new colors, and this is what it's looking like on the front. If you're ready to finish off, so let's talk about finishing this off. So once you have the number of rows that you really wanted, or the number of strips, then you want to finish it off in the same way that you see here. The trick to this is that we finished off on the wrong side here with those single crochets that came back. When we go to start the first row to do this, we have to start on the wrong side, so then when we turn and do the second row, it'll be on the right side, therefore it'll look identical to the beginning of this. So let's begin to do the upper edge here, and let's move on in the pattern, and I would choose the same color that you did here, because we're gonna use this color for here and also for the edges itself. So let's start the top edge. So once you're satisfied with the height of it, just start in the very first stitch and just start with a single crochet. So just join it, chain 1, and then single crochet in the same one, and single crochet all the way in every stitch all the way across using this color. I'm on the wrong side of the work, and then when you get to the other side, turn your work, chain 1 and 1 single crochet all the way back across, and then fasten off. So there's only 2 rows of doing this, just like we had done in the very beginning. So please do that, and I'll see you at the end of that section, and then we'll start doing the side edging in just a moment. So let's review the side edging. I've already done one. Now we started the top edging starting on the wrong side. We also want to do that starting on the wrong side for the edging as well, so that the last row that comes across is actually on the right side. So to start one, I figured out what the stitch counts are to keep it in balance. So just using the same color to keep the border color looking the same, but of course color is subjective to you. So you're just gonna come into the outside, and you're gonna come on the border, and these are single crochet rows. So if you just do a single crochet, like a chain 1 or a single crochet in the first one, I did a standing single crochet there, then the next single crochet row has a single crochet. And what you need to concentrate on is that each one of these double crochet posts, which is a chain 3 in some cases, is that there's only 2 single crochets around that post, and then the single crochet row that is in between this post and this one is just 1 on its own. Okay, so this post has 2, and then this single crochet row has 1. So 2 and 1, and you'll do that all the way down. And now remember that when you come out to the other side here, there's actually 2 of these rows, so you're just gonna finish off right on the end there. So when you get all the way there, you're going to turn your work, chain 1, and then single crochet yourself all the way back across, and then fasten off. So there's only 2 rows of doing this stitching, and then I'll see you at the end of that in just a moment. Okay, so now we've done our side edging, so it appears that we have a full border. You can either stop here, but I'm gonna reintroduce this color just for 2 more rounds, just to give it that final kick. Now When you have this, you notice that you went on the side of the borders that were on the top and the bottom. So when you're on the side of these rows, make sure you count those as a stitch just for those two pieces that are just right on the edges. So let's begin, and we're going to just pick any quarter that you would like, and then each corner has 3 single crochets, and then the rest of the stitching, including the sides, if you had to use the side, is included as a stitch. So just choose any corner, and I would start with 3 single crochets first. So just chain 1, just join it and keep it on the right side so you're looking at the good side finally. Okay, and then just start in the next stitch and single crochet all the way across, and then each corner gets 3 single crochets, and then I'll see you at the end of this round, and we're going to just join it, and then we'll move on and do one more round, and then this project is finished for today. Okay, once you come all the way back around, you're just going to do the last stitch and then just join it to the very first single crochet that you started with. Now right where you're sitting is not the middle of the corner, so just chain up 1 and single crochet in the first one, and then the next one is the middle. So just put in 3 single crochets in the middle one. So it's 1 single crochet in each stitch going all the way around, and on the middle corner one right here is going to be 3 single crochets so that you can keep the balance so that it will stay looking flat. So continue to do this last round, and then this will conclude off the border for this project today. So when you get all the way around, just to finish it off and just slip stitch, and then I've already shown you how to weave it in the ends, and this is what it will look like. So just have a quick recap in just a moment. So this is what it looks like. I know because I've done it in the smaller hook size, I know what those dimensions are, so I'll be able to leave that information on the more in the video description, but probably too late to tell you that now. But actually each one of these squares is about 4 inches. The original was 7, so that's because it was a smaller hook and a regular size yarn, so that's kind of neat. And this is what it looks like, and it's actually not hard, and it's just a matter of keeping your balls organized as you're crocheting in order to have this look. Have a good day, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.